Do you think that the government that will have to seek resources outside of government to address this particular issue of long COVID, seeing the limitations of the ADA?
Yes, for sure, and mainly due to the fact that the government has pretty much ended the pandemic, right?
Right,
They,
that's correct.
they've pretty much said that the pandemic is over,
That's
and
correct. Not too recent,
you
not too
don't
long
need to
ago.
mask anymore in public or private spaces. They've eliminated a lot of the programs that gave away masks and tests for free.
Yes, that's right.
They've eliminated the opportunity to test at local pharmacies.
Yep.
Because pharmacies are local businesses, there are some pharmacies that are still doing testing, but that testing used to be free. You used to be able to go through your health insurance provider and get those tests for free. Now you can't. The
Exactly.
government used to provide. You used to go to the U.S. Postal Service website and put in your address, and you get mailed tests for free.
That's
Um,
correct.
now that program has been sunset because the government believes that the pandemic is over. I think you and I can agree that
No,
it
it's
is
not.
not.
No, it's not.
Um, and there are folks uh, that are chronically disabled, that still need folks that had to mask up before COVID was a thing, and have to mask up still to this day.
Correct.
And we have to do our level best to protect them. So I still mask up when needed in public places. um, there used to be the state by state COVID alert, um, and that got sunset in, I think,
Mhm.
all 50 states. So now you don't, you used to get alerted when someone
Yes.
tested positive for COVID if you were in their proximity within the past 3 days. That entire program has been sunset.
Gone.
So now you don't know. Now you have to, if you go to an event, you have to hope and pray that no one has come with COVID, um,
Yes.
and is a carrier, so that because these variants are more deadly and more destructive to the human body than the initial virus is.
Correct.
Um, and let's not pretend like we aren't seeing, that people aren't still dying from COVID.
Mhm.
Let's not pretend like we've been talking about long COVID the entire time. Let's not pretend like long COVID isn't a thing. I know my sleep, and I'd like to think that it's not COVID related, but I know since 2020 my sleeping pattern has significantly changed. I don't know about you, but mine certainly has.
I've
Uh,
been struggling with sleep. Yes, I have.
yeah. Um, so yeah, uh, I think there's, I think there are many ways we're gonna have to go. Like, you're gonna have to, you know, buy masks, through Amazon or through some other vendor, um, and not through the government. Because some local governments have sunset the free mask program and the free COVID test program as well that were happening in libraries across the country. So you're not able to go through those means either. So
I have my mask. I stockpiled quite a few. I have sanitizer everywhere. And I've always been concerned about my health and the health of others. My dad was a chemist. My mom was a nurse, worked in the city of Chicago healthcare system. And so we kind of grew up with, taking precautions. However, you're right. You're right, Neil. It's not over, and states are not reporting. Well, here in Florida, they're not reporting, the significance of COVID in our state, and people are dying. Cases are ebbing and flowing. From the last report, about maybe a week ago or two, was about 20,000 new cases, and that's significant. And it's unfortunate that um, I believe that the government has succumbed to pressure to just move on with business as usual,
yes.
and leave it to individuals, whether they're careful or careless, to fend for themselves.
Yep.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Neil, the Black Consultants Group is made of 300 plus consultants. These individuals are also primarily small business owners, correct?
No,
Oh,
actually,
okay.
I don't know what the percentage is. I haven't actually run the numbers, but we have. I think I'd say probably if I was to do the percentages, I'd probably say 65% are own their own firms, and I'd probably say 45% are folks who work for are in leadership positions or staff at other firms.
Okay.
Um,
That's good to
so,
know. Okay.
so we have folks who, and we have folks, and then we have folks who work kind of insularly in the industry who work for different um, businesses associated with the industry,
Mhm.
and they act as kind of resources or outlets. So we have,
Okay.
like voter file contacts in there, and we have, you know, Democratic Club folks in there, and we don't have anybody because I didn't want to have anybody representing any of the Democratic committees or anything like that because I didn't want us to be party affiliated. But
Sure.
um, we we do have obviously the group is progressive leading. I'd say probably 95% of the membership is made up of folks who have predominantly Democratic clients or progressive clients. I know there are folks, like yourself or others who have had not who have had either independent or Republican clients, but um, that's really a small percentage.
Okay.
And we don't really, when we have conversations with the different committees, it's not something that for their information, which is true. We don't really have a whole lot of, uh, we're not really talking about um, the inner workings of uh, campaign. I mean, we are talking about the inner workings of campaigns, particularly the ones that fail. For
Yes.
any number of reasons, but I'm not trying to lift up the hood too much behind the scenes of what's happening in the Slack. I mean, because you've seen those conversations, you've been a part of them. You know,
Yes. Yes,
uh,
I have.
whether it's summits that we all attend or half attend, or whether it's vendor uh, situations that we get that several folks get invited to, or call or conference calls that go nowhere. I wanted to have a group where we could, and that's why we have Event Channel, so we can talk about those kind of things and not have to have kind of outside eyes prying in to say, well, you can't talk about that because if you talk about that, then you're going to piss off this person, or you're going to piss off that party leader, or you're going to piss off this committee chairman, or you're going to make, this communications chair, this fundraising staffer mad, or whatever the case may be. Like, I wanted us to have a space where we could, feel secure in having conversations and not have to worry about party bosses kind of looking over folks' shoulder and saying, well, you can't talk about X, you can't talk about
Thank you. Thank you. Exactly, Neil. Thank you. I tell my clients, I tell my team, I tell anyone who's willing to listen, I'm not in this business to be friends, make friends. It's not a popularity contest. It's about, bringing good people with great ideas to represent their communities. And I'm very dedicated to that. And I want to make a recommendation, just throwing it out there. You mentioned, the different organizations, the AAPC, the CNE, and they're always talking about, these conventions and conferences. You know,
Yes.
we all can't be everywhere all at once.
No,
So
that's true.
I want to just throw out that when you create the membership tiers, that part of the funds go to identifying someone within the organization who can be a member to these different organizations and then bring back that information to us as a group if that's possible, because I know that if I've been solicited to join those other organizations in their memberships and pay the fees. I'm like, well, you know when do I really get out, and when will it, what's the utility for me on an everyday basis?
I
Where's
have
the
overhead to
value?
take care of. I can't take care of a membership fee that where I'm never going to see those people.
Exactly. And then there's the proximity to what's realistic for me as a consultant, and as particularly a Black consultant. I find more value in the Black consultant group, the BCG, than I do being a part of the AAPC or CNE. I feel, here I go talk about my feelings. I even tell my teens, don't talk about your feelings. Um, I know I have a place, and I have the ability to network or consult with or mentor someone in a more intimate space with the Black Consultants Group than I would in those other entities. And that's something that I just want to throw out there. They do offer some utility. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's a little bit too much because of how big they are, and also their focus on things that, I guess for me at least in my business, just don't get to the heart of what we do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's definitely something we've talked about internally. Just so you know, as we try to build things out. Again, I don't want to get too much under the
Sure.
not in the weeds or under the hood. With
The
the
secret
listeners
sauce.
too much, but we are thinking about that. That is something we are considering. We definitely want to make sure that that our members feel and understand that there's equity as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
There are some members that I've interacted with who have said, some of these members are getting off too easy because you're just providing them so many resources to connections and so many RFPs that they wouldn't already have access to, and they're not saying thank you enough. Like I've literally had conversations with several members who are like, they aren't thanking you, they aren't talking about the Black Consultant Group enough, and I'm just like, it's not about that. Like the group isn't built for uh or rather, I'm not in the in this industry for my name to be all over every news article, to be on the front cover of the Post, to be on the front
Right.
cover of the LA Times, to be on the New York Times, to be on MSNBC every week, to be on CNN every week. Like I understand the need and the want to be a part of those conversations. What I love the Black Consultant Group to be covered by any major network, um, to be covered by any Black news network. Yes, we haven't been covered by any, so maybe after seeing this podcast, we will. But I have connection. I've sent, but again, but it's also not about that individual. It's because then people would say, "Oh, well, you've done all this work, you've created this space, you," and it's not about me. I want to lift up as many members as I can, whether it's you or any of our other members,
Correct.
because to me, it's about y'all and the membership. Yes, I created the space, but I created the space for the members. I didn't create
Right.
the space so I could say I created the space. I
Mhm.
created the space so that the members had a space to feel seen. So I think I've accomplished that, but the goal was not a self-grandizing thing for me. It was for
Right.
everybody
Right.
else.
And Neil, I mean, an incredible platform, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this for the Black Consultants Group is to push the brand, push Black Consulting Group out there, because I saw the amazing people. The platform is incredible. I said, wait a second, there's more. There's at least more I can do to help promote the value that the Black Consultants Group has. And so I said, I got to get a hold of Neil and talk to him about this, and say, hey, let's get our people out there. And the response from the members I mentioned earlier, has been phenomenal. There we go. And I can't wait for the videos, the interviews to broadcast next week. And Neil, this is such a great opportunity, not just the value to other consultants, people like us, people look like us, but to the general public also, to let the general public know we do exist. And of course, there's always the monetization, things like that, and the branding, et cetera, et cetera. However, being known as a force to be reckoned with.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. To that point about monetization,
Mhm.
the group has been propositioned to be the minority wing of the AAPC. We've
Mhm.
been we've been propositioned by a very popular, gainful is how I will phrase it,
Okay.
gainful uh, uh, organization that wanted to kind of put us under their wing and kind of say, well, you can instead of having your website, you can be under our website and put
Mm.
all your members there and organize with within our social network, and rather than having your own internal thing. And it's just like, then you get control, then you get the IP, then it becomes yours, it doesn't become ours at that point.
Right. And I
And
so believe in owning your own content, decentralizing the creation of content, and being the owners of what you, Neil, have created.
I again, while yes, yes, I did create it. I wanted to make sure when I was having these conversations with these other folks that you know, you know, they understood that you can't just go to our website, because prior to the Black Consultant Group existing, they would try to, when they were having conventions and they were having panels and they wanted to have panels talking about minority owned businesses, and they wanted to have minority representation on these panels.
Yes.
They wouldn't there wasn't a organization where they could literally find the members in order to do that. And now they said, well, now we don't have to call them directly. Now we have to now we have this website. So to those organizations, I will tell you, while the network is free right now, and you have access to see who our members are, that access will change in the foreseeable future,
Good.
because we want to make sure that when folks are trying to interact with us for business purposes, that they are doing so, and at the end of the day, in a lot of cases, that they are paying us, that they aren't giving us a hot dog and a handshake, right?
Yes. That's
Um,
correct.
like, as so many, uh, you know,
Hot dog in the hand.
whether it's outstanding invoices, whether it's um, organizations just kind of putting black faces on just to kind of say they put black faces on. Like, I'm really tired of that, and
Thank
I
you.
and I didn't want the Black Consultant Group to be the black resource for these organizations or individuals or media outlets to say, oh, well, now there's this organization, so now we don't even have to do the work of finding them. Now we have to do is go to this website and all of this is there, and we don't have to do the work at this point. We just get in contact with them through the website. And it's just like,
Hmm.
yes, that's a great start, but what are you going to, like, are you actually going to get in contact for opportunities, or are you just telling me this? Because when I have conversations with
Yeah.
members and they say, well, that magazine, that media outlet never actually called, or when they say, that membership organization never actually reached out to me for a membership to speak on a panel, like, I remember these things,
Sure.
you know. So when I revisit these conversations with these organizations and with these individuals, I'm like, well, the members came back to me and told me that y'all were BSing the entire time. And yes, I
Wow.
understand we're in the industry that we're in, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, again, the homogenous nature of our industry, the backbiting nature of our industry has gotten to the point where we aren't doing enough, in my opinion, to address the level, or really the lack of collaboration, because so many folks are like, well, I have to get ahead, I have to undercut this person, I have to chop that person in the neck, I have to sneak in and at the last minute get this business. Or with certain democratic committees, as we know, they have pre-select, despite the fact that they'll send an RFP, They
They
have already
already know.
pre-selected from their lists, and then they'll come back to me and say, "Well, we don't have a pre-selected list." But then, why, when we go to your summit, do you already have pre-selected people talking about working with the Democratic committee, to working with the
Exactly.
committees?
Just a
Like,
little honesty. Just a little honesty. You know, we know how the game is played. We get it, but just a little bit more honesty. That's all. Wow. For for our viewers and listeners, Neil, leave us with a quote, something inspirational.
um, I'm not really the quotes guy. Um, uh, so I would just say, believe your story of self.
Excellent. Ed, very to the point and very real. Where can our listeners and viewers find you on the metaverse, the interweb, whatever they call it nowadays?
Well, and I know you're going to share the social links
Yeah.
with folks afterwards, but folks can find me on Twitter at, or I'm
I,
still calling it Twitter.
me
Uh,
too.
they can find me on Twitter at Neal Carter. Um, for now, until until we see what happens with it, I'm still going to be on that platform. Uh, I'm not on Spill yet because it's not available for all devices, and
Okay.
I understand they're having some significant issues on the back end. I
Okay.
like the idea of Spill. I like the idea of alternative social media platforms. So that aside, not on Spill. You can find New View Consulting, newviewconsulting.org, the Black Consulting Group, the Black Consultant Group.com, Disability Victory, disabilityvictory.org.
Excellent. If I was Neil Carter, who would I be following on social media?
Um, well, I'd be remiss if I didn't say my wife first,
Ah,
uh, uh,
and who?
because she is every part of. She's written two books about, and I say that because she's written two books about social media. Um,
Really?
yes, they're both on Amazon. Both
Do you
excellent.
mind sharing?
I can send you the links. How about that?
Okay,
Um,
please.
uh, and she's also in the Slack, so I definitely recommend reaching out to her as well. But I'd say LeVar Burton. Um, this is part of my life growing up. I mean, reading Rainbow was
Yeah.
a part of my life, and then Geordie LaForge still.
Okay.
So LeVar Burton. I don't really. I try not to acknowledge Kuta Kinte for obvious reasons. Um, but definitely LeVar Burton, um, Missy Elliott,
Okay. Yes.
one of the greatest artists of all time.
Agreed.
Busta Rhymes, another
Yes.
great, another also in my top five. Um, I can't think who else. Um, yeah, I just say those four or five, but
Okay.
definitely my wife first.
Excellent. Excellent. That's great. And in closing, this has been phenomenal. And perhaps we'll have two parts, but I want to thank you again for being a part of this opportunity, this experience. It's part of my journey, and I am looking forward to the memberships, the new membership tiers. I'll make sure that I start a line in my budget to make sure that we get the annual fees all taken care of. Because I really do want me and my business to be valued members of the Black Consultants Group. And if we're the political innovators, uh, the Black Consultants Group is definitely an important resource in our in what we offer to our clients in our community. Any closing comments and thank yous?
No, just thank you for the opportunity, and definitely am looking forward to what's next, and definitely looking forward to hearing the other interviews, and you know, um, definitely looking forward to progress.
Excellent. And I will apologize in advance for all the gushing I did over you in the Black Consultants group. However, Neil, it is well deserved, and I'm looking forward to a long future with the Black Consultants Group, and hope that either I or Jay in Washington can do anything more for you and your organizations.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Neil. I really appreciate it.
All right, David.
Everyone, this has been the David Washington Show with another phenomenal guest in Neal Carter, and hopefully we'll have more. I want to encourage more of the Black Consultant Group members to reach out, reply to my request to be on the show. I think it'll do not only you and your firm a world of excellence, but also for the Black Consultants Group in general. I'm David Washington. That was Neal Carter. It's the David Washington Show. We see you the next time.